panic if we split the uprights on a Brandon McManus field goal, and you can hear the reaction here at Burkles. One block over, the Green Bay Packers have knocked off the Houston Texans. 24-22, the final, and McManus endears himself to the Green Bay Packers faithful on a day in which the Packers could not have played much worse. It was an ugly, ugly contest from the start, but the Packers, they end up getting the win. Welcome in. It's the Green and Gold postgame show. Oh, my goodness. Do we got a lot to talk about? Oh, my goodness. And the fact that today McManus comes into the fold and without missing a beat. He gets a couple of extra points, a couple of good kickoffs, and then splits the uprights for the final. And the Packers get the win, and they get a 22-24 hard-fought win in the dreaded 40 to 49-yard field goal range. McManus hits it from dead nuts right in the middle at 45, and no doubt about it. It was a little bit towards the left of the uprights, but it split it easily. And there you go. That's the difference between a Braden Arvison and a Brandon McManus. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What a way to end this contest. And look, you can end this thing on a high note. You can end this thing on a joyous note. You can end this thing with a win, and that's ultimately what it's all about. But this team, going now to 5-2 on the season, played about as ugly as it can possibly be. About as ugly as it can possibly be as Brandon McManus does a Lambeau leap into the south end zone to the jubilation of the fans who breathe a little bit easier. I posted it earlier today. I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, if you follow me over on the Facebook fan page, but if you do, I was watching McManus today in warmups, and he wasn't missing. And at one point, I took video of him hitting a 60-yarder, and he had 10, 15 yards to go. I mean, it would have been that easy to hit that 60-yarder, and he was hitting it to that end zone consistently. There is a field goal kicker, a kicker in general, that's a little bit better than most. So the Packers get themselves a win. Man, what a day. What a day at Lambeau Field. Welcome in to all of you at the Green and Gold postgame show. We are live, but we're at Burkles, one block over. And to say that the Packers pulled this one out is an understatement. Now, here's the thing to look at. You can go glasses half full, or you can go glasses half empty. Here's why you would look at the full side. They had 3 turnovers in this ballgame. 3 turnovers in this ballgame. Played about as bad as they could possibly play, right? And they won. 3 turnovers in this ballgame. Played about as bad as they could possibly play, offensively speaking, that is. And they still won the ballgame. Still won the ballgame. Packers get the 24-22 win. They knock off the Houston Texans. And when you look at it, you got Jordan Love with a 95.5 quarterback rating, 3 touchdowns, but 2 picks. The first one was terrible. I mean, an absolutely terrible throw. The second one wasn't good either. But the first one, just a dumb play. The second one, he came over to the sideline. They all sat down, him, Malik Willis. They all were sitting there kind of going over the Surface Pros with the offensive coordinator or with the quarterback's coach. And they're all sitting there looking at it. And you could see them all pointing like, what were you looking at? You didn't see the coverage. You threw it to the only guy that had triple coverage in that particular sense. And then on the first interception, it was just a terrible throw. He threw it to the only guy that had double coverage and just didn't see it. For whatever reason, didn't see it. But nevertheless, the Packers get a win. Jordan Love, 24 of 33, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns, a couple of picks, 95.5 quarterback rating. Josh Jacobs today, who started off less than 3 yards a carry, ended up 12 carries, 76 yards, 6.3 yards per carry. And at one point in the second half, I think it was either the first or second drive by the Green Bay Packers, and I got to go back through my notes. But basically, the I'll tell you what it was. It was the first drive for the Green Bay Packers. The Packers came out in the second half. The Texans got the ball. Kenny Clark dominated. He gets a tackle for loss. They get one more play. Then Kenny Clark gets pressure up the gut. Wilson comes around him, gets the sack on third down. The Packers had 8 on the line of scrimmage, disguised it beautifully. Jeff Hafley is really starting to, that defense is kind of, when it comes to blitz pickup, trying to come into their own. And maybe they were listening to the show because early on this season, they weren't disguising a damn thing. And I kept saying, look, Flores is a guy that when you see his defense, he's got 9 on the line of scrimmage, 8 on the line of scrimmage. And then you got 3 backing out, 4 backing out, 5 dropping into coverage. Or you're stunning around from the end to the middle. That's exactly what they did with Wilson. That's exactly what they did with Xavier McKinney coming off the edge. They had some sacks today, put pressure on C.J. Stroud, had it coming from all over, and confused C.J. Stroud. Anyway, long story short, Jacobs, he on that first drive, he had out of 71 total yards, Jacobs had 50 yards for the Packers out of 71 total, and the touchdown, his first receiving touchdown in his career. Josh Jacobs really kind of turned it on in the second half. So we got a lot to go over. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. And good news is the Lions, with 15 seconds to go at U.S. Bank Stadium, have just taken the lead. They are up by 2. 15 seconds to go. They just split the uprights on a field goal of their own, and they are now beating the Minnesota Vikings. If the Packers got the win. If the Lions hold on to get this win, the Packers will only be a game behind both the Lions and the Minnesota Vikings near the top spot. Eric, thank you very much. Eric says you effing called it. The game came down to a kicker making a game-winning kick, and you nailed it. Thank you, sir. For some people that do remember, every now and then we happen to be a little bit right, or maybe we foreshadow in the proper direction, but absolutely, the Packers get themselves a nice win. Okay, I want to go back to my original statement. So was this a glasses half full win? You play about as poorly as you can play in the first half. You lose the turnover battle in this contest, don't forget. You lost the turnover battle. You had 3 turnovers in the first half. And now think about this for a second. All that they could muster off of those turnovers and bad field position was a total of 16 points. Think about that. As much as we've criticized the defense in the past, you can't do it today. Yes, the Packers, by the way, in the first half of this ball game, gave up a ton of running yards. They shut it down in the second half. By the way, let me give you some statistics here real quick. The Packers held the Texans. The Texans, by the way, one of the top teams in the NFL offensively speaking, the Texans were held to a total of 197 total net yards today. Think about that. They held them to 197 total net yards today. The Packers had 56 plays. The Texans had 58 plays. The Texans, by the end of this contest, averaged only 3.4 yards per play. That's it. When you look at the offensive side of the football here, now think about this for a minute. They had Joe Mixon running wild in the first half of this game. In the first half, let me give you a couple of stats here real quick. Joe Mixon, 11 carries, 81 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He was averaging 7.4 yards a carry in the first half. Okay, remember that. Again, 11 carries, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ended up with 25 carries, 115 yards. 4.6 yards per carry, did not dent the end zone in the second half. We didn't talk too often about Joe Barry and halftime adjustments, but damn it, that's a halftime adjustment. Now, glass is half empty is dumb gunslinger mistakes out of Jordan Love. Keyshawn Nixon with about as dumb play he could possibly have in pulling out of either fair catching or catching that punt to allow it to then fall and hit Ballantyne, which was stupid. The special teams gives up another big return. It's like, what the hell are they paying Rich Bisaccia for? They're getting worse. They are ranked 30th overall special teams in the National Football League. Now, I know Narveson has a lot to do with that. Don't get me wrong. But you can't have much more mentally dumb plays on special teams than this team has on a consistent basis. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. You want to hit us up, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. You want to text us, 608-321-1670, 608-321-1670. You could also watch us respond with all the cheap seats over there on the live stream. Go to youtube.com, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You can find us on the Twitch app. You can find us on the Kick app. You can find us on LinkedIn as well. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, The Bill Michaels Show on all 3. The Bill Michaels Show on all 3. You can also hit us up over on X, on Twitter, at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. There's a link there to watch the program as well. You can email the program, thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Listen on the web, thebillmichaels.com, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcast after the fact, and you can also track us down, take us anywhere and everywhere. Every time we're on the air, we're on the zone, man. That's our flagship station, the mighty flagship station, coming out of Madison, Wisconsin. WOZN, the Zone of Madison. Let's get to it. Let's go to our buddy Gerard in Delaware. Gerard, how you doing today, man?
Hey, Bill, if this was on the road, I'd say, man, put a big smile on your face and get out of town quick. That's what I would say.
Right?
But, the takeaways from the game, they shut down the passing game, and so Mixon ran and the whole bit and everything else. Look, this is the NFL today. You're going to get something. This ain't going to be the 96 Packers. Look, Evan Williams, he's starting to remind me of a bigger version. Now, this is a tall task of the Honey Badger. This kid's looking good. Wilson and Cooper played this two-man game that was unbelievable, where Cooper would block a guy coming in and let Wilson go free to rush the passer. The play calling, Bill, how do you go from your own 11 with the smallest receiver on the field in a 9-man box run around? The play calling in this game was really, at points, some suspect.
And Gerard, here, I even wrote that down. My question was, you just got Jacobs all lathered up on the previous drive. Why do you then? You know what? Here's the other thing, and you bring up a good point, because I wanted to make a note of this real quick. When you look at that end-around stuff that they were running today, they had Jaden Reed, Bo Melton, and Christian Watson had a total of -5 yards today with the end-around crap. They knew it. They knew it was coming. They could see it.
No, the whole thing is, Bill, they go with, look, the backyard stuff is fun sometimes, but it's a time and a place for it. You can't, they ran 2 in a row, Bill, 2 in a row end arounds right in the beginning of the game. It seems, Bill, that now don't forget Reed now. Reed dropped the big ball, but the whole thing is, when he caught that punt, what was he doing? Just let it go into the end zone.
That was the other thing,
no matter who they put on the special teams, Bill, it's a dumb thing. They get dumber. But look, overall, in 10 games, Bill, we ain't going to remember any of this game.
Right.
All he's going to show up is a win, and we're going to remember McManus had a very difficult time doing the Leroy.
That's okay. He's a kicker. He's a kicker.
I know that.
That's it.
It's a great win. Hey, listen, about time they win games. How many games have we seen them lose this way?
Right.
It's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I loved it. You can't make it up. And I look, like I said, in several games, Bill. And then this week when I call back, we got to talk about the trade deadline, because there's some stuff coming up and the whole bit. And I think they might make a move. And if they do, I hope it's for a 350-pound run stopper.
Hey, here's my question. When Quay Walker went down and Wilson had to pick up the slack and they started moving the middle linebackers around, tell me this defense didn't get better.
Well, the whole thing is, that's true, but that's a small sample size,
right?
So, you can't go by Wilson, because I've seen him play terribly this year also, right?
Yep.
So sometimes you can't go by the small sample, but he did have a great game.
Yeah.
He did have a tremendous game. He made like 3 or 4. But we got it. Look, Evan Williams on that 2-point conversion that he came up and he had about 4 or 5 tremendous plays this game. That kid let me tell you something. He's a difference maker, that kid.
Between him and Edrin Cooper. Edrin Cooper was another guy today. You just watch his athleticism. Even though he didn't really show up statistically today, he was all over the field as well and had some pressures. But I agree with you with Williams. I think Williams actually, by my calculations, I haven't looked at the final score yet, but I think Williams led the team in tackles today too.
I wouldn't doubt it. I'm telling you, it was. And look, all we were talking about, right, Bill? Bringing a veteran kicker, bringing this. How many times have you said that? A million times. How many times have all the callers said that? And then you had these people that, we ought to give them a chance. You don't give them chances like that, mistakes like that. This is the NFL. This isn't, you know what I mean? The high school team.
Yeah.
People got to remember this stuff.
Yeah,
but overall, Bill, like I say, look, this is a tremendous win. Through the years, Bill, all these years we've seen other teams kick field goals to beat the Packers. It was so sweet to see us do the same thing.
Well, it's Gerard, appreciate the phone call. Thank you so much. I look at it this way. The Packers won one of those ugly games, period. They won one of those ugly games. Usually an ugly game like this where you turn the ball over 3 or 4 times, you try to make it kind of a game down the stretch, you just end up coming up short. Instead, they persevered, and they ended up winning this game instead, which is huge. And again, I'm not making too much of the performance itself, because the performance itself was not great. Defensively, man, again, you held a team to 22 points. And that's against 3 turnovers. Terrible starting field position. As a matter of fact, in the first half of this game, think about this for a minute. The Texans, they had the ball to start the drives. They had the ball, their first drive on the Packers' 11-yard line. The second drive, they had it on their own 20. The third drive, they had it on their own 30. The fourth drive, they had it on their 43. And the fifth drive, they had it on their own 45, damn near midfield. So they had it on the Packers' 11, a 43, and a 45. And the Packers were able to kind of shut them down defensively and really stymie this team. One of the top offensive teams in football. I mean, that's winning ugly. And sometimes you got to win ugly. I love it. I love it. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We're going to take a quick. We got a whole host of people online, so don't go anywhere. We got a whole lot more of the Green and Gold Postgame Show. You want to chime in? 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. You can hit us up. Give us a shout. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to give us a shout that way, great. If you want to hit us up over online, you can. On the live stream, to everybody over there in the cheap seats, we certainly appreciate you on the stream. And we're going to go ahead and take your calls, take your thoughts all day long. Hit us up via text message, 608-321-1670. I'll try to get to everybody over there. Packers get a win. They get a win, 24-22. They knock off the Houston Texans. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. At Pella, right now, they got 0% up to 60 months to qualified buyers. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, absolutely, positively fantastic. More of the Green and Gold Postgame Show next.
This is the Green and Gold Postgame Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
24-22, the Green Bay Packers, they get the win. They knock off the Houston Texans. In sometimes, just sometimes, you got to win dirty, and that's exactly what they did today. The Packers turning the ball over not once, not twice, but 3 different times today. But how about the way this thing finished? They get rid of Brandon Narvison. They bring in Braden Narvison. They bring in Brandon McManus, and he splits the uprights 45 yards out to give the Packers the win. And that has been the bugaboo, the 40 to 45-yard kick. And it was funny because during the pre-warm-up today, I was in the stadium early, and I had gotten some video of McManus going through his warm-ups. And I posted one where I said, look, he's hitting from 60. And, I mean, like, not a problem. It looked just good. I mean, everything the guy was kicking was really good today. I don't think I watched him miss a kick today. Pre-game, regular game, whatever. I didn't see him miss anything. And I had posted it, and everybody in that stream, and rightfully so, said, well, you know, it's great to be doing it in practice, but let's see if he can hit one like a game winner if they need it. And at 40 to 49-yard bugaboo has been problematic for the Green Bay Packers. So I said, okay, let's see. Let's see what happens. And damn if he didn't hit a 45-yarder to go ahead and get the win for the Green Bay Packers. So there you go. Good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Our guy Rick from Spencer, that touchdown to Kraft looked like vintage Favre. Rick, you're 100% right. I mean, that touchdown pass to Tucker Kraft back of the end zone, he kind of almost a sidearm lasered it in there. How it got through, we don't know. A tremendous layout, stretch out catch by Tucker Kraft to come up with a touchdown. But there's a little bit too much Favre there right now. Favre, don't forget, also threw a lot of picks, and 2 picks today on bad decisions by Jordan Love. Not going to cut it. So he's got to get that. He's got to get that cleaned up. Out of the 608, kicker and defense won that game today. 100% agree. Could not disagree with that. Let's do this. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's get your reaction. Let's go to our buddy L listening to us in Philly. L, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I'm great, L. I just said you got to win dirty. It wasn't pretty, but you'll take the W and move on, man.
Absolutely, man. You know, it's crazy that Quay Walker, unfortunately, getting hurt was a gift and a curse. It was a curse that he was hurt, but it's a gift because we played a lot better once he got off the field.
Right.
It's a much more cohesive unit, man. I can't say enough about Evan Williams, man. That boy is
everywhere.
Baller.
Yeah.
That play he made when Stroud rolled out to the right, and then they had Nixon go out to the left or whatever, and he was scoring.
Yeah.
And how he read that, how he ended up staying on him, that anybody else that probably would have let him go ahead and score. I'm just reading that, and as a rookie knowing that says a lot of film study, and it's just knowing what you need to do.
And he did it like he was shot out of a cannon.
Today,
he did it like he was shot out of a cannon. Exactly. That was the other thing.
Right, because he ran up to the line of scrimmage and he was going to go ahead and try to blitz, but then once he saw that, he knew to stay home.
Right.
He ended up staying there with him. That was great, man. And then on top of that, I was going to talk about the play caller too, because if McManus didn't make that kick, LaFleur would have had a lot of explaining to do with those last possessions that he had.
Yeah.
How in the world you got Josh Jacobs going on 3rd and 1 do a darn reverse and almost get the most dynamic player on offense?
Right.
What are you doing, man?
I agree.
I hate that. I don't understand. Maybe it's me or us as fans. I don't know. But all that East and West stuff with Josh Jacobs don't work. I understand you got to do it sometimes because you got to keep the defense honest. But for the most part, that guy runs well north and south.
Right.
If you just give it to him, let it go straight ahead, he has to make one cut or to put his foot in the ground, he's going, or he's going to definitely get positive yards. But all that little cutesy little stuff, like when Aaron Jones was there, he's not the Aaron Jones back. That's not what he do.
Right.
And you're making him, you're not using him properly. But I see that, when they do use him, he's effective. Hopefully they get it in their mind. The more they run the ball, the more balanced will become. And then you don't have to rely on Jordan Favre to throw passes off to the other team and off his back foot and lobs. And when he threw that pass to, who was that? Dontavian Wick?
Yeah.
Right there in that last drive, almost fell out. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we got the win. I ain't complaining. And I'll definitely piggyback what you said about the special teams earlier. It's ridiculous, man. These dudes are idiots, man. What do they be doing? Like, I don't understand it.
I don't know.
How you coached up on the sideline? I just don't get it. But I'm glad we got a kicker that can make kicks, man. So
right?
That's the plus side of it. But thank you.
All right, buddy.
Thank
Talk to you later. That's our buddy L listening to us in Philadelphia, joining us for a couple of minutes. He's dead on a lot of those points. Man, I tell you what, the one thing about Williams that I did not like early, he missed a tackle. He threw his body out there with Joe Mixon instead of just wrapping him up or at least trying to bring him down. Mixon kind of just shoved him to the side, just kept on going, ended up picking a first down. It wasn't overwhelmingly significant. Let me say that. But it was one of those things that you kind of watch. You're like, tackling technique is a thing, right? So I'm watching, and I circled it because I wrote it. I was going to tweet it out. I thought, you know what? I'm going to wait. Let's see what happens. And man, did he learn from that. After that, it was all day. Wrap up. Shoulders, arms, wrap up. Good instinct. And he didn't hesitate. That was the other thing today. It's like wherever he went, he knew he was going there. He committed to it. Let the natural kind of ability take over. He knew where he was going today. Good stuff coming out of him. And good point coming out of our buddy L listening to us in Philadelphia. Let's go to Chris listening to us in Cottage Grove. Chris, welcome to the Green and Gold Postgame Show. How you doing, man?
No, I'm good, man. Thanks. Shout out to the cheat sheets, man, because I'm constantly there. But I think we just saw Jordan Love make a comeback. And it's one of the rare occasions that has not happened. And we wanted it. And we've been seeing it.
Yeah.
And he finally did it. And here's a comeback. A kicker. God bless him. All right, let's go. And but it was more Jordan Love just getting us down to the point where we could take a play.
Right.
Adios, Bill.
No, I appreciate it, pal. Thank you so much. No, I agree with you. What you saw was, and again, and Jesse and Joan and who was the other one? Let's see here. This is Emil. All said, how can you call it an ugly win? I can call it an ugly win because you had 3 turnovers. You had really ugly play in the first half of this contest. I had given you some of the statistics. Joe Mixon was running to over 7 yards a clip in the first half of this ball game. You didn't have much at all. You know, Hewitt slams Reed and ends up giving the Packers a touchdown. The Packers, had they not had that penalty, they may have ended up kicking. Nixon fails to field the punt. The ball then hits Ballantyne in the back. 2 plays later, Texans, Mixon, they run it in for the touchdown. And that's what I wrote down. My note was, how many more special teams gaffes are they going to have? Penalties, missed field goals, screwed up punt returns. Packers special teams ranked 30th coming into today's game through Pro Football Focus. They're terrible. And yet, in spite of the 2 turnovers from Jordan Love, in spite of the stupid punt return that wasn't, when Reed tried to take it out of the end zone, in spite of having it bounce off of Ballantyne's leg and turn out to be a turnover, two plays later, it turns out being a score. In spite of all of that, a second half of football where they made adjustments defensively at half, they come back and win a game. And the move to get rid of Narveson and bring in a new kicker also pays off. 40 to 49 yards. That's the thing. So to me, when you win a game ugly, it shows that you're actually a pretty good football team. Because I'm against a good football team, and the Houston Texans are now 5-2 as well, and that's a good football team. And you went toe to toe with them. And you're going to have to play better, obviously, if you're going to get deeper into the postseason, because you can't be turning the ball over. But I'll tell you this: for winning ugly, you take it. And by the way, I did want to make a note of this today. The whiteout that they had, as they call it, the winter warning, that was pretty cool. I kind of made fun of it. We were talking about it during the week leading up to this contest. We were kind of joking about the naming and everything of it. But I think actually the fans got into it. The players got into it. That's about as loud as I've heard Lambeau Field in quite some time on the 4th warmest day ever in October for the Green Bay Packers to play at home. There you go. So no missed field goals today. You've got no Narvesons today. You got nothing but McManus, who split the uprights with 45-yard field goal. All right, let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to get more of your thoughts, text messages, emails, all of that to get to. Don't go anywhere. I want to remind you, next week we are going to be near the Northwoods. We're going to be at Potawatomi Hotel Casino in Carter, Wisconsin. It's a Green and Gold watch party and then a Green and Gold postgame show live from Potawatomi Hotel Casino in Carter, Wisconsin. If you're in the area, That's where we're going to be next week. We hope to see you there all throughout the great state of Wisconsin and the network. If you want to stop up, please feel free to go ahead and join us for the watch party and the Green and Gold postgame show live immediately after when the Packers travel to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville coming back from overseas from their game earlier today. Stay tuned. We got more of the Green and Gold postgame show after this.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. What's your name? Got okay. Gotcha. Thank you. Good to have you back. The Green and Gold Postgame Show. We continue on 24-22. The Green Bay Packers, they get a win. They knock off the Houston Texans. Packers go to 5-2 on the season. Texans also at 5-2. But you've got a loss now with the Minnesota Vikings, who got beat by Detroit a little bit earlier today as well. So you've got the Vikings at 5-1, the Lions at 5-1. Lions now back on top in the division via the head-to-head. The Vikings a game better than the Green Bay Packers. Kind of a game and a half, really, because the Vikings own the head-to-head with the Packers. But the Packers 5-2, and those others 5-1. And now you've got kind of a dead heat, sort of, if you want to call it that, for the top spot in the NFC North. And you got the Bears, by the way, that are on bye this week. Welcome back to the program. Packers get a win, and we'll get back into the locker room and such coming up here in just a little bit. I wanted to get some of the comments coming in off of the text line. A lot of people chiming in today. Out of the 570 kickers, the MVP today. That's from our buddy Ken, listening to us in Scranton, PA. Rick from Spencer said Stroud had 86 yards passing. That's a great day at the office for the Packers defense, which 100% I completely agree with. Defense played lights out against Stroud. Hats off to the D out of the 608. Also out of the 608, defense played really, really well. Love to see C.J. Stroud sacked and pressured so many times. Jeff Hafley dialing it up. 737 says, what are you more concerned with, the poor special teams play, stupid penalties, or Love's interceptions? Out of the 737, that's a great question. The one constant has been the special teams. Love doesn't always make bad throws. The stupid penalties have hurt, but in today's game, they didn't kill you. You know, they didn't kill you. It wasn't like this was just some myriad of bad statistics. I mean, today when you talk about the number of penalties, you had what? I think the Packers, correct me if I'm wrong, ended up with 8. They had 5 in the first half, so only 3 the rest of the way. Now, Houston only had 5 total. But they kind of curbed it a little bit in the second half of this contest, right? Still not good. 8 penalties. You're still one of the most penalized teams in the National Football League, and you're getting some penalties at just inopportune times. I mean, the kickoff today, you had a penalty on, right? You had a really good run back by Keyshawn Nixon, and then you had a penalty that brought that thing back. So you've had some key penalties that have stalled and manipulated drives in a really negative way. Now, they've been able to overcome that, and you still got 5 wins in the season with one of the most penalized teams in the league, but some of the stupid penalties have to go away. However, the special teams play consistently is poor. Consistently. And look, I think I was as big a believer in Rich Bisaccia coming into this system and into this scheme and helping these guys out. And I thought, you know, he is going to be great. From everything that was said about him out in Las Vegas, the way the guys loved him, they fought for him, they played their asses off for him. I thought this is going to be a great addition. Plus, he's the assistant head coach. He's got a little experience. But I'll tell you this, I can't figure it out. It's not like you got a penalty here and there, or you're just kind of getting blown up and maybe a little bit of a scheme change. These are just stupid things. And sometimes you can't blame it all on the coordinator. Not all of it, right? You can't blame all of it. Some of it you can, but you can't blame all of it. Some of it's just dumb play. You know, Reed bringing the ball out of the end zone on a punt, you can't do that. You can't. When you got guys standing at the 4-yard line, you can't bring that ball out. You can't be that stupid. Keyshawn Nixon bailing on a ball that was almost in his hands when he decided to step away from it. Had that ball bounced up and hit him right away, that'd have been one of the dumber plays. But instead, he doesn't even yell, get away from it. It bounces, kind of takes a Packers bounce. Hits Ballantyne in the back of the leg and then rolls away. And next thing you know, the Texans fall on that. They give up that big return as well. It was just a myriad of gaffes today out of the special teams. What I'm most concerned about is this. We saw poor special teams play go back a few years when the Packers made it to the postseason and had San Francisco at home. And we saw it over and over and over again. It wasn't costing them, but they were coming close, okay? Mistakes here and there. And then ultimately, San Francisco, they said, okay, look, this is something that hasn't been fixed all season long. They haven't been able to correct it. They're just not a great football team when it comes to protection. And sure enough, they get a punt block for a touchdown. They block a field goal. Next thing you know, in a very hard-fought defensive battle in which the defense didn't play that bad, San Francisco advances and the Packers are left going, what just happened? When all of us as Packers, and look, Packers fans are incredibly smart. They're not stupid people by any stretch of the imagination. You know football. And when we all looked at it and said, look, there's a problem here, and the Packers had ignored it and said, okay, we're still winning because winning is the ultimate deodorant, right? We're still winning. Don't worry about it. We'll fix this. And they never did. It ultimately came back to bite them in the ass. I just don't want to see that happen again. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Out of the 715 said, when are you coming up to Nuts Deep 2 in Marshfield? Can't wait to see you. We are going to be there, I believe, in December. The first week of December. We just finalized some of our schedules. Matter of fact, they don't even know that yet. So maybe I'm making that announcement here as a matter of fact, but don't even know that yet. But actually, the day that I'm coming there is December 4th. It's my birthday. So we're going to celebrate my birthday at Nuts Deep 2. There is no better place in the world that you'd want to celebrate your birthday than at a place called Nuts Deep 2 up in Marshfield. I'm just saying, okay? So we're going to be there. We're coming to town. We'll be there on the evening of December 3rd, doing the show up there, and then the huddle up there on December 4th. So there you go. Mark your calendars. Mark your Nuts Deep 2 calendars. That's where we're going to be. Fantastic. Off of the live stream, got a lot of people commenting. Adam says horrific special teams for years now, and we're tired of it. Yeah, I mean, what do you want me to say? It's just been consistently poor, for lack of a better term. Jeff says Jordan Love throwing some balls up for grabs, very concerning. Lucky a couple of those weren't intercepted, but a win is a win. The 50-50 balls, it depends on when you do it. You can be cerebral with it. And if you trust your receivers, now let me say this. If you trust your receivers to go up and get a 50-50 ball, but the understanding is if you can't get it, you have to knock it down. If you trust them, then do it all day long. But if you don't trust them and they're not coming up with it or knocking it down consistently, then, yeah, you have some issues. It wasn't the 50-50 balls that I worried about today. It was the bad throw into double and triple coverage. You got Marv says telling Alexander to shut his yap and just play defense. I don't know if you saw that early on. I think we saw the argument. I had tweeted it. It happened right in front of us that first it started out Keyshawn Nixon and Stephon Diggs before the game even got going. And then Jair ran over and kept yapping to the point that they had to be separated. Matt LaFleur had to come out. Officials had to come out and pull everybody out of that. However, you had one play where Jair went after Stephon Diggs and got the best of him. Then the next play, they came up and pressed Mixon, and Mixon ends up, I think it was maybe a 1 or 2 yard gain at best, okay? And you saw Jair run up to him and start yapping. Well, I think it was like 3 plays later is when Mixon took off and then had that to say, like basically, okay, shut your yap. I just ran you over to Jair. Jair, he reminds me a lot of Chad Ochocinco and Chad Johnson in the sense that he's a really good player, but he talks a lot and draws a lot of attention. And sometimes that's not the best of attention. It's a very selfish act because that's the check that you're writing that everybody else on defense has to cash because they're coming after you. Not just you, but after the defense in general. Because it doesn't matter who they beat, they're going to point you out and yap about it. So it does wear thin after a while. Go out and be boisterous. Celebrate with your guys. You know, be a little bit machismo, but you can't be yapping at everybody every damn play. You just can't. Can't do it. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a quick break. We got a lot coming up. Don't forget, we're going to have Jordan Love at the podium. We're going to have Matt LaFleur at the podium. We got more of your thoughts coming up. Packers get themselves a win, 24-22. How about McManus splitting the uprights from 45 yards out to give the Packers the win? The Packers go to 5-2 now on the season. Jacksonville next up on the docket. Stay tuned. It's a Green and Gold postgame show. We are at live. We're at Burkle's, one block over. It's starting to fill up in here. As a matter of fact, a lot of people streaming through the door, and there's going to be more to come. Everybody's hoisting a celebratory beverage. Really, nobody wants to come inside. Here's the reason why. It's beautiful here. It's like 78 degrees. When I left Lambeau Field to come over here, midway through the fourth quarter, it was like 78 degrees. It was fantastic. A picture-perfect, beautiful day here up here in Green Bay. Stay tuned. We got more right after this.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
A reminder, next week, the Green and Gold postgame show is going to be live in the Northwoods, Carter, Wisconsin. We're going to be at Potawatomi Hotel Casino, hanging out there next weekend. Join us for the party in the Northwoods. And after the game is over, after the Packers and the Jaguars, it's going to be the Green and Gold postgame show live from Carter, Wisconsin at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. We're looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. Great weekend. We're leaving on Friday. We're heading up and just going to enjoy ourselves. So really looking forward to that. You want to get a hold of us, please feel free. Go ahead and do so. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Want to give us a shout, please feel free. We'd love to get your voice in. Also, if you want to text us, 608-321-1670. We are live. We're at Burkle's, one block over, starting to fill up. Only a few tables up the gut remaining. The front of this place and around the bar pretty full. Packers fans continuing to stream in and getting themselves a beverage, celebratory beverage, or two. So if you want to swing by, please go ahead and do so. Got a couple of emails. I wanted to get to this one real quick. Aaron said, hey, Bill, you called it. Friday I emailed and asked for one name who's going to be the biggest key to this win over the Texans. And you said Brandon McManus. The defense played great despite being behind the eight ball pretty much all day from Jordan Love and Rich Bisaccia as special teams. Love also tried to be a little bit of Brett Favre at the end with a throw off of his back foot into the end zone. Whatever. I'm glad we escaped with a win. There is legit crap to complain about, but I'm going to soak in yet another Goody win with McManus in that pickup. It's nice for Goody to be allowed to be his own man. Old number 8 off doing his trash in New York. There you go. That is from our buddy Aaron. Aaron, appreciate it. Rick says, hey, unit, in the fourth quarter, the Pack had 3rd and 3. Every receiver they had running was 30 yards down the field again. this is what they did last year, and it cost them big time, and it almost did again today. When you watch Kansas City, they don't always have receivers named Kelsey, who sort of drifts like 5 to 6 yards past the line, and Mahomes just always finds him. When will the Packers finally learn that getting those first downs and moving the chains and eating up the clock is what wins you football games late in ball games? That's from Rick. Rick, I got you, man. I'm with you. 100%. I'm right there. Angie says, a big win by the Green Bay Packers. Even though they didn't play their best, I still give them credit for hanging in there and playing tough. How about that defense? Blitz is coming from every direction. Do you feel like they're finally getting Hafley's defense? Angie, by the way, Angie listening to us over near La Crosse. I got to say hi. We got Jason and the crew that came in from Alaska to say hi. We got a guy named Jeff Skoronsky who stopped by a little while ago. Jeff is from Galveston, Texas, listens every day. And then I had a buddy named Caleb who came by to say hello. And Caleb said, I listen to the show every day. I listen to the podcast, listen to the post-game show when he was stationed at Gitmo, and he was deployed for a while. So I wanted to say hi to Caleb, wanted to say hi to Sarah, and I wanted to say hi to Sims as well for stopping by and saying hi to us here today during the Green and Gold post-game show from people all over the state of Wisconsin and outside the borders as well. So always good stuff. To go back to your question, Angie, whether or not this team is starting to get Hafley's defense, what we had talked about probably through 2 or 3 weeks of the season was the fact that when they did blitz or moved around, you saw it to where they were almost predetermining where the blitz was coming from. And if you're an opposing quarterback, you could see where it was coming from. So all you had to do was delay your snap count. You could then make your adjustments via your cadence and pick it up. And it really wasn't getting home. Now what they've done, today you saw 8, and at one point you saw 9 men on the line of scrimmage, and they were either bringing stunts from the outside in or vice versa. You brought Xavier McKinney off the edge. Then you were dropping the linebackers back into coverage. At one point, you basically stood up Lucas Van Ness, and then you had Wilson come around him from the outside to the inside. So you saw a very different defense today. And at one point I was sitting with Mike Clemens, and I looked at Mike and I said, this is not Joe Barry's defense anymore. It's like they're getting it. So to answer your question, yes, I think they're starting to get it a little bit more. And it's become more aggressive. Now, here's the other side of the coin. Eventually, you'll get burned. You'll get burned doing it. It happens because you know when you start bringing extra guys up the gut, it's going to leave certain areas of the field open. What you're trying to do is beat the quarterback to the read, so he doesn't have time to make the read and make the throw. Therefore, your blitz gets home. There's going to be times you're not going to get home, and you're going to say, "Oh my God, what do they do?" You got to remember, you got to take the good with the bad when you blitz. Okay. But today, they did it extremely well against a good mobile quarterback, against a good read quarterback who has good guys to throw to. He had Mixon out of the backfield. He had Tank Dell. He also had Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs didn't do a whole lot going over the middle today. I thought he would be a little bit better than that. Stephon Diggs didn't. When you look at Diggs' numbers today, 5 catches for 23 yards. He had the 1 for 17, and that was it. That's what you held Stephon Diggs to today. 7 targets, 5 catches, a total of 23 yards. C.J. Stroud threw for a total of 86 yards. He was sacked today 4 times. But let me scroll down here for just a second. Let me check this. On my notes, they had 8. No, on my notes they had 9 quarterback hurries. Officially, they had 7 today, but 9 quarterback hurries. 9 quarterback hurries on C.J. Stroud today. Twice he was being chased down from behind, and he got rid of the pass. But they only defended really 1 pass today, and that was Wilson, where he slapped one down. He had did not put his hand around the waist of the receiver and got the slap away. And that was a big 3rd down play, too, where they ended up punting after that. But that was it. He had a couple of sacks today. Wilson had 2 of those, plus the pass defended today, by the way. Talk about a big day for Eric Wilson. Then you also had Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary's sack, I know some people tweeted me and say, there's Rashawn Gary. Big number 71, their right tackle. He stepped on the receiver in motion and fell down. Rashawn Gary basically got an unabated sack. I mean, there was nothing between him and the quarterback. So if he didn't get that sack, I don't know what to tell you. But Rashawn Gary today also had a couple of quarterback hurries. He had 1 sack, but he also had 3 other. What I counted was 3 other. They gave him credit for 2, but they gave him actually credit for 3 total. I gave him credit for 3 total hurries today. So not a bad way to go. Maybe, Angie, you're absolutely right, where they're starting to get it a little bit more. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This one comes to us out of the 608. Says, hey, Bill, love the program. We're going to get over to Burkle sometime soon. I consider this a really good win for the Green Bay Packers. You said one time, Favre said, a win's a win. Is this what you would qualify as just getting a win? Hell yes, I would. Yeah, just get the win. That's all that matters. You beat a really good football team. If you look at them statistically in a lot of different categories, they were top 5 in offense, top 5 or 7 in defense. The only area that they did not excel in was red zone defense. They're 28th in the red zone. But what you did all day, and you gave them the ball in short fielded situations today through turnovers. So to get a win like that and to play sloppy or ugly or whatever you want to call, whatever adjective you want to throw in there, to be able to label it that way and still walk away with a dub, that's usually the sign of a good team. Now, I asked at the beginning of the program, is this glass half full or is this glass half empty win? The majority of you are saying this is a glass half full win. This one's from Michael. Says, as long as Jordan Favre stays away from that food stamp money, we won't have a problem. Oh, that's just low, Michael. Michael, that's a win, man. You can't come at somebody like that right now, right? JJ says, Rashawn Gary definitely showed improvement today. David said, hey, don't worry about it. It's a dub. This was from a Mark who says, I'll take the dub every damn day of the week. The more dubs you get, the better off your playoff seeding is going to be, right? Damn straight, right? Coming up in the next hour of the program, we got 1 hour down. We still got another hour yet to go. We are broadcasting live at Burkle's one block over. But coming up, we're going to hear from Matt LaFleur. We're going to hear from Jordan Love. Mike Clemens is inside the locker room. Mike Clemens back with us today. That's fantastic. So we're going to hear from Mike, and Mike's going to get a myriad of response coming out of the guys, both out of the Packers and the Texans locker room today. So all that kind of good stuff. This one's also from Jake, who says, did they replace Jordan Morgan today? Well, they were shuffling them in and out like they've been doing. Morgan came in for Sean Ryan a couple of times, spelled him, and then Sean Ryan came back in. It was like that all day. To be honest with you, Dennis says Rich Bisaccia needs to go. He was supposed to be such a great special teams coordinator. Your opinion? I don't call for. You're not going to fire him now, okay? You're not going to do that. But unless these get better, special teams get better, there's no way. Not for the money you're paying and the results you're getting. You just can't, because it was supposed to get better and it's not. As a matter of fact, it's getting worse. They went from being top 20 to now in the 30s. They're 30th right now, overall special teams ranking. 30th. Got to say hi to Mitchell from Houston, Texas. He said, great game. Jair should be embarrassed. How do you let a quarterback get up and talk noise to you? Classic shoulder tackling. I know, right? We talked about that. Jair's got to stop talking and play more, because he's also, I had mentioned it earlier, he's kind of writing the checks that others on that team are going to have to cash. And you don't want to put your teammates in that particular position. You just don't want to do it. All right, we got another hour yet to go. Packers go to 5-2 on the season. They get a win, 24-22. Brandon McManus with the walk-off field goal from 45 yards out splits the uprights and gives the Packers the win. Yeah, you take it. You take it. Don't go anywhere on the live stream or anywhere else for that matter. You know where to turn. Best damn Green and Gold postgame show out there. Stay tuned. We got a lot more coming up live at Burkle's one block over behind Stadium View here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We'll be back right after this.
The kick is up and wide left.
Why don't they customize the goalposts?
Gina Della from Pella, how'd you get into the booth?
No, listen. If they made our goalposts just a little wider, and why just yellow? It's Green Bay. Add some green stripes.
Sure, Gina. Should they also remove the G at midfield and paint a Pella crest?
Okay, Wayne, I get it. You can't customize a football game to go the way you want, but Pella can customize your home the way you want. From durable materials and fold-away hardware to custom colors and ease of maintenance, backed by quality craftsmanship, energy efficiency, and warranties that will last for years.
And this has got to be the Pella Dagger. Right now, get 0% interest for up to 36 months. Visit PellaWI.com.
Hey, I've got a popcorn and soda.
Right here.
$22.50, please.
Too bad we can't customize concession prices.
That's it. You got this, partner? I'm out of here.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 10/31/2024.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong. Farmers deal with a lot, including long days, stress, and fatigue. This is your reminder to take breaks, stretch, have a snack, and hydrate your body. Avoid farm accidents by keeping yourself healthy. Visit ruralmutual.com to learn how Rural Mutual supports Wisconsin farmers and prioritize safety on the farm. Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
For nearly 40 years, ABC Wisconsin Apprenticeship has been helping men and women transform themselves into highly skilled trade professionals. These skills are in demand and provide strong wages and benefits for a bright future. If you're a hands-on person who likes the feeling when you get projects done, apprenticeship could be for you. Go to buildyourcareerwi.org or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Blue 58, go! Green 18! Green 89, touch!
This is the Green and Gold Postgame Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
24-22, the final. Welcome back. We are live. We are at Burkle's one block over with a Packers victory in our back pocket. They go to 5-2 on the season. And you take the ugly win, man. You take the ugly win. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur coming up here in just a little bit. We're also going to hear from the Packers quarterback. Jordan Love is going to be going to the podium as well. We're going to hear from him, and we're going to get your emails. Good to see, by the way, good to see Andrew Brandt today. Andrew Brandt was on the sidelines down there with his son. I believe it was his son, but saw him. Good to say hi to him, and good to see. Oh, there was quite a few people here today. It was pretty cool. I got to admit, at the beginning of the week when they were talking about the winter warning and all that kind of stuff and the white uniforms, I've never been a big fan of changing what is historically a very traditional uniform. Just haven't been. But I got into it today. The crowd got into it today. There was an energy in the building today. Now, granted, it was beautiful weather. I don't think you can get much better than what it was. It was 70, 72, 73 degrees at kickoff. It got warmer as the day went on when I was coming over here to Burkle's after about 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. There was, I think the temperature gauge in my car said 78, 79 degrees, bouncing back and forth as I was driving over. It doesn't get much better than what it was today at Lambeau Field. I mean, just picture perfect. Had a really good halftime show. And by the way, got to give a shout out to UW Platteville. They put on a pretty good halftime show today. So a lot of good stuff happening, but I think it was just a great energy in the building. Great energy in the building. So kudos to all the fans today who turned out and got loud. And this was about as loud a building. This had a playoff atmosphere today. It really did. And these two teams got chippy before they even got out of the tunnel. They were chippy with each other all day long. Now, there was a lot of smack talking going on. Stephon Diggs and then obviously Jair and Keyshawn Nixon and company. They were kind of instigating it. But there was some chippiness, some pushing and shoving going on. Hell yeah. Man, It was a fun atmosphere. And I told you all week coming into this contest, I could not wait for this game. Couldn't wait for it. I was excited for this game. There was a lot of good energy in the building today. And, damn, it worked out. So, man, it's just awesome. Let's do this. Matt LaFleur at the podium. Let's take a listen to what the head coach of the Green Bay Packers had to say. Here you go.
Wow. What a game. Got to give the Texans a ton of credit. I know they were shorthanded defensively today, and they absolutely kicked our ass. But I thought, conversely, our defense played outstanding. And then, we knew we were going to take some shots. That's a really good football team. Definitely well coached. You all right? But definitely well coached and we talked about it. We knew we were going to take some punches, and it was all about how we responded. And I was proud of the effort of our guys. It's hard to overcome losing the turnover battle by 3 in this league. I don't know if we've ever done that, and still come out and find a way to win the game. So certainly a lot of things to clean up in every phase, but ultimately at the end of it, we'll do that. We'd rather do that after a win, obviously. And I'm just really proud of our guys' effort and their ability to stick together and just find a way to battle it out.
Matt, how good a play was that by Daniel to get that ball down on that last kick?
Really, really good job by him. That's all I was looking at, to be honest with you. And I was like, but he is not only is he an outstanding punter, but he's a hell of a holder as well. And I can't say enough great things about him. He definitely had a huge impact in the game today. I mean, when you average, 56.8 yards a punt, that's pretty damn good. So do not want to have to use him that much. I tell him every week, I said, I hope we only use you as a holder, but today we needed him, and he certainly came through in a big way.
Daniel Whelan happened to be the best punter in the NFL with how much his average was today.
Yeah, it sure feels like it. I mean, he's been really consistent. We see it in practice. He's definitely the best I've ever been around. Just not only, he obviously kicks it a long way, but just the hang time too, because some guys will kick it far and they're going to outkick their coverage. But I thought our guys, our flyers, did an outstanding job winning their one-on-one battles, flying down there, and just to negate big return opportunities for the most part.
Is this what you envisioned when you hired Hafley to be your defense coordinator? This kind of performance. Obviously, the last couple games, all the takeaways are great, but when you have to have the defense play like they did without the takeaways,
yeah, it was outstanding. I can't say enough great things about our defense, about the job that he and our staff put our guys in, and the aggressive mindset. You could tell that going into this, we did not want to allow CJ to get comfortable. I think CJ is a real guy in this league, and he's going to be for a really long time. And so just to apply that pressure on him and I obviously overcoming some very bad circumstances throughout the course of the game in terms of being backed up, our sudden change opportunities where our defense was kind of like backed up. But yeah, Hafley does an outstanding job, and so does the rest of our staff.
How did you think of the way Jordan handled the last drop?
That I just talked to him about it. That's his superpower. No matter what's happened, whether good or bad, he continues to fight and be resilient, and just the moment's never too big for him. But I thought that was huge for him to be able to take us all the way down the field and get an opportunity right there to kick a field goal. Hats off to him.
Along those lines, there's some real spectacular with him, and then turnovers too. What do you make of this guy?
Yeah, well, I know the turnover in the second half, they came out. I thought Matt Burke and D'Amico and their defensive staff did a good job of kind of keeping us off balance in terms of just throwing some wrinkles in there. I never felt settled as a play caller, and never felt like we kind of got into a rhythm. They came out and we had a play dialed up for cover 3, and they come out in man, and there was a lot of pressure. I thought they did a good job of putting pressure in his face, and obviously it was an overthrow, so it is what it is. But I thought, sometimes that is the price of doing business. When you are aggressive with your play calls, things can happen.
Do you have to live with some of the throws he makes? Because he has proven that some of the risky throws end up being successful, right? Are you okay as a play caller?
Yeah, I think it's always a fine line. You never want to, obviously the quarterback's number one job is to take care of the football, but I also don't think, especially today, we always put them in the best positions to throw the football. So, again, we'll take a look at it, and evaluate it and be critical of ourselves, myself more than anybody.
I think it does for him to win a game at the end like this, because so many games come down to this.
Yeah, I thought he showed great poise and just the ability to lead us down in the most critical moment. Certainly, 2-minute was, I don't want to say it was an issue for us, but we've had some bad things happen in some of those situations. And for us to come away today with a win, a game-winning drive in a 2-minute situation, I think that'll give us a lot of confidence moving forward.
Think of the confidence that Brandon Clemens exhibited today, going out there, banging one through when they iced it and making it again when there was a little bit of chaos on the snap.
Yeah, he's a vet, and you can see it. The moment's not too big for him, and obviously that was a big-time kick.
Back to the defense for a second. I know you talked about him a lot already, but what can you say about that performance by Eric Wilson and what he did for you out there?
Yeah, he made some big-time plays, and especially being able to come in relief of Quay. Certainly, Quay he's the guy out there, talking to everybody, and to lose him was big. He seems to be doing okay, but Eric, I can't say enough great things about him. He is the consummate pro in terms of just always knowing what to do, and then being able to, when called upon, go out there and deliver. I'm really proud of him, and we're lucky to have a guy like that on our team.
You talked about Stroud a little earlier about being such a good player. What did you guys do so well against him? No, I don't think he had 100 yards passing.
Yeah, I thought we just put immense pressure on him. That's what it looked like to me.
It seemed like there was always a different player. If it wasn't Eric Wilson, somebody else really stepped up well in the defense as well during the game.
Yeah, I thought our defense played outstanding. That's a really good offensive football team. Joe Mixon, what a stud he is. We could all feel him out there. But to hold a good team like that to 22 points, considering a couple of those drives started deep in our own territory, I thought we gave Hafley a game ball for the defensive performance.
Matt, were you good with the clock management in the last drive? About 30 seconds comes off after a 37-yard line. It takes it down from a minute to 27. Was that you were okay there?
Yeah, I thought obviously we didn't want to they started bringing pressure. We didn't want to get knocked back out. We were already, we wanted to get a little bit closer for a field goal. But I didn't want to burn that last time out either. So it is what it is. We got to make sure that, certainly I got to make sure that I give our quarterback a play call that can handle whatever it is the defense could present. And he saw the pressure. We want to make sure we get protected first and foremost. I think all in all, I thought he did a pretty good job.
Big picture-wise, what can a game like this do for you guys, considering what you guys overcame?
Yeah, I think it can build a lot of confidence. And you can never take winning for granted in this league. And as sloppy as some of the play was out there today, I love the effort of our guys, the resiliency of our guys, the ability just to respond to some adversity, I think is huge. I think that's a playoff caliber football team. I think one of the best teams in the league. And, we'll never apologize for winning.
Please. Coach, this might be a question only us talking heads care about, but Love's predecessor obviously was historic, efficiency-wise, touchdown to interception ratio. And the former quarterback was a little bit more like Love, gunslinger mentality. Is that anything that you can coach out of Love, or is that just changing who he is as a player? Obviously.
Like I said, hopefully we can put him in better situations so he's not throwing, picks. So all you talking heads out there can ease on the Brett Favre comparisons.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
Wow, how about that? Matt LaFleur taking a swipe before he walks away from the podium, saying all the talking heads in the comparison to Brett Favre need to stop. How about that? I mean, I would not go as far as to say he's Brett Favre, because Favre had as many interceptions as he did touchdowns. But there are every now and then throws where he's throwing it into harm's way. And but I agree. I don't think put it this way. They say he's more Favre than he is Rodgers. But I think there's a good in between there if he turns out to have the same level of success. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. But Matt LaFleur basically saying, knock it off. I like it. When we come back, we will hear from the guy that is being compared a little bit to Brett Favre by some of the, quote, talking heads, as Matt LaFleur puts it. That is Jordan Love. Don't go anywhere. We're broadcasting live at Burkle's, 1 block over. Packers get a win 22-24. They go to 5-2 on the season. Knocking off, and as Matt LaFleur stated, knocked off a really good football team. This is a playoff caliber football team. This was a playoff caliber atmosphere today. And when you think about it, you beat that team turning the ball over 3 times. That's not a bad way to go. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Green and Gold postgame show. Jordan Love next.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Good to have you. The Packers get a win 24-22. They knock off the Houston Texans at Lambeau Field. We are live just a couple of blocks over at Burkle's, 1 block over, right behind Stadium View. And that's where Packers fans, as you can see, if you're watching on the live stream, they have gathered. They're all paying attention to the Kansas City Chiefs, a rematch of last year's Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. By the way, Anders Carlson has kicked a couple of 50-plus yarders in this contest, or kicked a 50-plus yarder in this contest for San Francisco. He never had a problem with the big leg. He had a problem 40 to 49 yards. That's where he had a problem, like many Packers kickers. So he did split the uprights, but nevertheless, They are still, Kansas City still up 7-3 in that contest. In the meantime, the guy that has been, by, as Matt LaFleur put it, talking heads, been compared to Brett Favre, who threw a couple of picks today and looked good and had a couple of moments that didn't look so good. Jordan Love at the podium. Take a listen to what Jordan Love had to say. Here you go.
Jordan, what were your thoughts when you went into the huddle there for that final drive? Did you say anything to the guys, or just kind of what was the vibe as you guys started that last possession?
Yeah, mindset right there is always go win the game. You know, it's a 2-minute drive. We need a field goal. We know what we need to do. So the mindset is just go win the game. You know, it's kind of coming down to us. Defense got a great stop, only getting them field goal right there. So we knew what it was. It was just go win the game.
What does it say about the team with all the mistakes that you're still able to win despite the turnover?
Yeah, you know, it's like you said, it's a team win. You know, it's a 4-quarter battle. You know, it wasn't perfect. Definitely was not perfect. A lot of mistakes, but you know, we found a way to win, and that's what it's all about. You know, that's what it comes down to is the fourth quarter and finding a way. That's what we did.
What did it take on the final drive, Jordan? I mean, what was working? What you feel was the key to getting down there?
Yeah, we knew. I mean, we had a good amount of time there. So just trying to move the ball, and I think we did that through a couple slants right there. Rome had some big time plays. Tuck made a guy miss and got a couple extra yards. So just trying to get those yards and chip away, get to what we thought would be field goal range around that 30-yard line. So stuff that we practice all the time, just going out there and having to find a way to execute and finish it.
Touchdown to Wicks. You went to the line right away. Did you know? It sure looked like that was a backward pass. Did you know that? Is that why you went to the line? Was that your decision, or did that come through your helmet? Or
yeah, we weren't sure. We weren't sure if it was a backwards pass, forward pass. So when in doubt, we're going to go fast, just trying to get a play off and beat that right there. But I'm not sure. I think it was actually a forward. I feel like I was throwing it forward when I threw it, but when in doubt, we're going to go fast.
did you call the play, or did Matt? Did going faster actually help you on that one? You think? Or
Matt called the play from the sideline. I think it did. I think they were a little misconfused on defense. So I think anytime you can go fast and catch them off guard, it's going to help you.
The touchdown to Tucker seemed like a really tight window. Did you realize it would be that tight when you threw it, and what did you think of that?
Yeah, no, the backside safety is the one who got in the way of that one, and I wasn't trying to lead him that far across, so I wanted to kind of put it on his body, and it came a little bit farther across than I wanted to, but it's tight windows. A lot of passes happen like that, and Tuck did a phenomenal job to be able to just stay focused on the ball and make a great catch right there with a guy jumping right in front of his face. So it was a big time play by him.
On that note, Jordan, you've already thrown an interception at the point. If that's happened, you throw another one later. How do you keep the confidence to keep not overly tight windows, but putting the ball into not big wide open windows like that?
Yeah, it's the NFL. It's there's not always going to be wide open guys. It's going to be tight windows. You got to fit the ball in there sometimes, and I'm gonna keep playing. I learn and grow from the mistakes, the interceptions, and just keep playing, keep moving on. But that's not gonna ever limit me. I got to keep going out there and being the best player I can for my team. So I'm gonna always be aggressive, but there's always gonna be those tight window throws.
along those lines, you had a couple great throws for the touchdowns, but 2 picks. Well, how'd you think you played today overall?
What was that?
How'd you think you played today overall? You had a couple really good touchdown passes, but a couple picks too.
Yeah, I think it was all right. I think I definitely want to be able to limit those mistakes, the interceptions, and just do better taking care of the ball. So definitely got to clean that up. And, I think if I clean that up, it'd be, a better game. But that definitely hurt me. But, got to bounce back and respond to them. The game's not going to be perfect, but definitely moving forward, want to be better with the ball.
What is that fine line, Jordan, between being aggressive like you want to be and making those big plays that win games, but then being a little over-aggressive and making those mistakes?
Yeah, you just got to play the game. You got to go out there and play it. You can't try and, not be aggressive and just take checkdowns all day. You got to be out there and be aggressive and go win those games. So I'm gonna always play the way I play and learn from the mistakes and, grow from them.
From Brandon in terms of body language, confidence as he went out there? They tried to ice him. He split that one down the middle. It looked like kind of a tough snap, but then boots the second one right through as well for the win for Stephen Sam.
Yeah, no, you could tell Brennan's a vet. You know, he's been around for a while, even all week in practice. You know, the way he's kicking the ball and, you know, just walks off like it's another, you know, walk in the park. So I think he has a lot of confidence in his leg and his ability. And, you know, I think he's played a lot of ball, made a lot of big-time kicks. So I think that was no problem for him today. But he went out there, you know, I saw a lot of confidence from him. And once he made that first one, I knew he was going to make that second one. So that was a big-time kick for him. Obviously, just got here this week. So to come in and win the game for us, that's huge.
For you guys, go ahead.
A lot of NFL games come down to this, where you get the ball back, less than 2 minutes to go. What does that do for you? What does that do for the guys you play with to have that, to win a game like this fairly early in the season?
Yeah, it's huge. You know, I think that's one of the biggest areas that we tried to improve on from last year. I think we came up short too many times last year in these 2-minute drill situations, go win the game. And so we've definitely put a lot of time into it in practice through our training camp, OTAs, and every week. So it's definitely been something that we've focused on. And, you know, it's definitely good to be able to go out there and put a drive together, get in the field goal range, and come up victorious right there.
More sure yourself than you did last season in that kind of situations?
Do I feel what? Sorry.
Sure of yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've repped these situations a lot more. You know, it always is tough, you know, just how critical every play is in those 2-minute situations. So definitely a lot of stuff we learned from last year, but I'm always confident that we'll go out there and be able to put a drive together, but it definitely comes down to making all those plays. And I think we did a good job of doing that this game.
Back to Brandon. What does it do for you guys as an offense to have a reliable, proven kicker who's been there and done that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's huge. It gives you confidence, gives the team confidence, you know, just knowing that we got to get that ball to about that 30-yard line and that he's going to be able to make that kick is huge. And I think he came up big for us tonight.
Brandon a lot, but what about Wheelan? The punts that he delivered backed up in the second half.
Yeah, that was also very big time. You know, there was a couple of times in the second half we went 3 and out and just kind of stalled out on offense. And to be able to have a punter be able to flip the field like that, and you know, it puts a lot of stress on the offense. And when the defense is playing the way they were tonight, all those yards come up big time. So you know, he had a great game, some big time punts for sure.
For Josh to get his first reception for a touchdown?
That was huge. You know, that's something that we've talked about all season, trying to get Josh that first receiving touchdown, and we're able to do that. So I'm very happy for him, and it was a great little catch and run by him on the screen. But definitely something we've been wanting to do, and glad we were able to make that happen.
On the finishing drive, you go from a minute down to 27 seconds, I think, and when you're at the 37. Were you guys good on that clock management in that situation?
Yeah, I mean, we're always trying to go as fast as possible, save as much time as possible. And, you know, they started trying to heat us up a little bit right there. So we're trying to get in the perfect play. But just knowing once we cross that 50 that, you know, you just need a couple more yards. Every play is critical, and we don't want to have any negative plays. So I'd rather take that time, make sure the protection, everything is on point, so we don't have any negative plays right there.
Yeah, interception on the throw to Watson. What did you see on that one?
Yeah, you know, they went man coverage. We had he was kind of running a deep high cross on the back end, and you know, I just sailed the ball. I think we had him, and just sailed it, overthrew him. The safety was able to make a play on that one. So, you know, not great.
What'd you think of how the defense played for you guys today?
Yeah, defense played phenomenal. You know, that's a really good offense on the other side right there, and you know, I think they did some really good things all night with you know, being aggressive. You know, being able to hold that passing game to whatever, I don't even know how many yards they had, but yeah, so I think they did a great job. I think the rush package we had out there was doing a great job to get home, and then the DBs on the back end were doing a great job. But it's not an easy task. You know, it's a really good offense, so I think they did a great job.
Jordan, late in the game, every athlete says that they got to treat everything the same way they can, but it's do or die. So you have to slow your heart rate down. You're pretty even keeled in general. So is it just normal for you, or what do you got to do to make it be like, you know, not too big for that spot?
Yeah, my mindset is just take it, just make it another drive. You know, obviously there's a lot of pressure, the game on the line. So I think if you let the moment get too big, you're not going to be able to go out there and execute the way you want to. So definitely just try and focus on breathing and slowing the heart rate down, things like that. But just trying to focus on the details of the plays and, make the most out of that situation. But definitely trying to just make it as normal of another job as possible.
Amongst the players, was there any almost joking this week going, hey, this game's going to come down to a field goal like it did?
No, I don't think, it's crazy the way it ended up for sure with Brandon just getting here and, kind of having him that last second kick to win it. So I'm glad the way it worked out. But no, I mean, you never know how these games are going to go. We knew coming into it was definitely going to be a 4-quarter game. We got a really good team coming in here. And, it's going to be exchanging those blows on both sides on offense and defense. So, we knew it was going to be a 4-quarter game, but you never know how it's going to finish up. All right, thank you, guys.
There you go. That was Jordan Love at the podium just a little while ago. I had a couple of questions during Jordan's discussion about the kickoff that went out of bounds, and then it ended up being placed at the 25-yard line for the Packers to take that over. And there was questions as to why. Usually a kickoff that goes out of bounds is then placed at the 40. Kickoffs that are touchbacks go to the 30. I'll discuss that and tell you why, at least from our perspective in the press box, why it ended up that way. We didn't get a full explanation, but this is the best I can come up with. So I'm going to touch base on that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We're broadcasting live at Burkle's, one block over. Packers get a win. They go to 5-2 on the season. It is a happy bunch of Packers fans all sitting around watching the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. Chiefs right now leading that contest in the afternoon game, 14-3 over Brock Purdy and company out there in the Bay. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Green and Gold postgame show. It's coming up, and we'll be back right after this.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You were fifth best offense in the National Football League. Welcome back to the program. The Packers got themselves a win. They go to 4-2. I was just sitting here talking with a Houston Texans fan, and he said, "You know, if you were talking about this game in the point of view from the Houston Texans perspective, what would you say? Did they make adjustments?" And I said, well, a couple of different things. First of all, your defensive front was pretty banged up. Let's not forget that. Secondly, they ran the ball extremely well in the first half. They tried to stick with it with Mixon in the second half. They just weren't able to do it because the Packers made the adjustments at halftime to stop. Also, Quay Walker went down, but to stop the run. And then when they got him in third and long situations, they were able to blitz and get away with it more often than not and put pressure on C.J. Stroud. Plus, they had some – I mean, there's enough there to nosh on. But I thought they didn't utilize Stephon Diggs over the middle enough. I thought Jair and Keyshawn Nixon did a pretty good job in shutting him down. And that left Tank Dell. And they've got some pretty good coverage when it comes to middle linebackers and pretty good safeties between Bullard and McKinney to be able to cover that up. I don't think they went to their tight end enough, but that's me. That would be a little bit of play calling. But I don't know if that would have made that large of a difference when you look at this game overall, the way the Packers played and turning the ball over 3 times, that all you were able to muster was 22 points on 3 turnovers. What killed you was the red zone. You got the ball at the 11, you punched it in, but you had a total of 16 points on 3 turnovers. You got to take advantage of that. And they just didn't. And the Packers defensively made some good plays. Okay, so I wanted to go back to the unsportsmanlike penalty during the touchdown that the Packers got, and then the subsequent kickoff and the reason they placed the ball at the 25. The only thing we could gather, they kicked off from the 50. The Texans kicked off from the 50. So it wasn't like they moved it up from the 30 to the 45. They kicked off from the 50, which was weird. But we knew that there was a penalty being assessed. Then they kicked it, almost squibbed it out of bounds. And we're all thinking to ourselves, well, that's going to come out to the 40. They just gave the Packers back the penalty. But instead what they did was they placed the ball at the 25. So it should have been at the 40. Therefore, that 15-yard penalty was then assessed to that subsequent kickoff for the Packers that pushed them from the 40 to the 25. So the only thing we could think of is there's a loophole in the rule that if you just kick the ball out of bounds, you get the 15-yard penalty assessed. Therefore, you don't even start at the 30 or the 40. You start at the 25. That's the only thing we could figure out. We never got a full description as to why it went that way. But that was a lot of, we were all, and again, there's a lot of people a lot smarter than me sitting in the press box, and that's the best thing we could figure, was that because the ball went out of bounds, instead of assessing the penalty, giving it to the ball, the Packers the ball at the 40, they assessed the penalty then and pushed it back to the 25. That's the only thing we could figure. That was it. So that's, hopefully that at least answers part of your question. We got Bruce in the 608 said the turning point of the game was when the Packers fans would not allow the Texans Mixon to do the Lambeau leap. He said total game changer. Go Pack go. So, yeah, that's what Ken in Scranton, PA said. The penalty placed on the kickoff allows the ball kicked out of bounds to go to the 25, so they kicked it out on purpose. And that's what, according to Larry McCarron, is saying as well. That's kind of what we thought, was one way or the other, you're going to get that penalty assessed, and that's exactly what they did. So but what's funny was they kicked it off at the 50. I mean, if you're going to do that, just kick it straight sideways, boot it right out of bounds, just get it over with. But that's exactly what they did. So I get where you're coming from. 877-867-1670. Our buddy Greg listening to us in Waukesha. Greg, how you doing, man? What's up?
Hey, Bill. Well, first of all, good game. I need Romeo Doubs, though, to get his head, though, from between his knees and stop committing offside penalties. That may have only been his first or second one this season, but what are you thinking at that point? Wayne Larrivee even said, what are you thinking? And Bill, you know that I can't see the game, but Wayne said he was clearly offside.
Mm-hmm.
He was clearly lined up. And then what was up with the Packers, Love was just off key with some of his receivers today. I mean,
right.
Dontavian Wicks, dropped that pass.
Mm-hmm.
What was up with that?
Okay, go ahead.
One more question just before I let you go. We need your post-game show to play in Milwaukee because this is the only time I get to listen to you because I work during the day.
Okay.
I need a Milwaukee station to pick up your post-game show, but we'll have to do the Grotto soon.
Okay. Love me some Jimmy's Grotto. Greg, appreciate it, buddy. Talk to you soon. Love me some Jimmy's Grotto. If you never had a giant pizza stuffed panzerata that just oozes with grease and it loops up your colon for when it comes flying out because it's just out of that kind of pizzeria goodness, you don't know what you're missing. I'm just telling you right now. It's fantastic. And as far as Milwaukee goes, wink, working on it. That's all we'll say. Talking about Romeo Doubs, I agree with you. Look, when the receivers come to the line of scrimmage, most of the time they'll look over to the official and they'll give a thumbs up. It's like they point. And the official will say you're good or you're not good. That was just a brain fart. It just was. He just completely locked up. And he really hasn't had many of those. I said earlier today, Romeo Doubs reminds me a lot of Donald Driver in the sense that the inside slant, going over the middle, taking a hit, popping right back up, picking up a first down and coming back to the huddle. That's Romeo Doubs. When you talk about some of the other wide receivers and not being on the same page, just kind of a goofy off day in some cases. There was a couple of throws where when Jordan Love is mechanically correct, he is as sharp as anybody. That throw to Tucker Kraft was off the back foot, and that thing was a laser on a rope that he threw to Tucker Kraft. So give him that. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and I don't mean to, put off some of your questions, but Mike Clemens is going to join us from inside the Packers locker room over there at Lambeau Field. Don't go anywhere. Packers got to win. We wrap things up with Mike Clemens inside the Packers locker room next.
This is the Green and Gold postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. We are live. We're at Burkle's, one block over, right behind Stadium View Pub. The Packers fans gathering, happy, ecstatic. Green Bay gets the win, 24-22. They knock off the Houston Texans. A good matchup in a playoff atmosphere at Lambeau Field today. Let's go back over to Lambeau Field. Mike Clemens standing by. Michael, how you doing, man?
Pretty good, Bill. Right after pregame warm-ups, as the teams were headed into the locker rooms before the kick and the national anthem, Stephon Diggs from the Texans goes running over into the Packers team huddle. Keyshawn Nixon starts pushing him. Then later, Jair Alexander gets into it. This is a thing between Jair and Stephon Diggs. It goes back to Diggs' time with the Vikings. And I asked Kenny Clark, what did you guys think about Keyshawn Nixon and Jair Alexander trash-talking, shoving, pushing Stephon Diggs before the game?
Nah, I mean, we was just excited to play, man. Key and Ja, we love to see it. We love to see that's they want to go out there and compete. You know what I'm saying? And that just fired us up even more. We understand that this is going to be a huge game, and we was going to go out there. And, we had to go out there and play our best ball. That pregame just showed us exactly what kind of game it was going to be, and we was all for it.
Mike, a guy that came up big today, you had Quay Walker leave the game with a concussion, and then other guys stepped up. Eric Wilson, the linebacker, did today in a big way. A couple of sacks, a lot of pressure, played well over the middle, had a pass defended as well. He was all over the field.
He was. You kept on hearing his name called not only on defense but on special teams, which is where he plays normally. I mean, Eric Wilson was released by the Packers. They didn't sign him till late in free agency to bring him back. And look how well he performed today. Quay Walker was motionless there for a few minutes during the TV timeout to check on him because they were so concerned. He was able to walk off the field. Eric Wilson comes in, wears the green dot, runs the defense. And I asked him about, he talked about it was a great game. He pointed to the field position they had. He gave credit to their punter, Daniel Whelan, with the 67-yard punts. And, of course, Brandon McManus with the winning field goal.
Feels great. It feels great. Team effort for sure. Offense did their thing. Special teams showed up. Daniel was booting that thing. Brandon showed up with the kick. We had great coverage. Our gunners going down. Defense, making stops, sacks, and putting pressure and doing a good job on the run game and pass game. So team effort for sure.
Talking to Mike Clemens over inside Lambeau Field. It's brought to you by the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Quiet, cozy, comfortable, and just a mile from Lambeau Field. Call them 920-494-3441. Mike, the defense was really kind of the story today. It was a sloppy game offensively, but the defense only gave up, I think, 16 points via 3 turnovers today. A solid job.
Yeah, and then today was not a takeaway day. I mean, Jordan Love with 2 interceptions and then a fumble there. I mean, they had the turnovers today, and that's why Eric Wilson's performance was so important today, with 5 combined tackles, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hurries. And I asked Rashawn Gary about Eric Wilson going from special teams to a big day against the Texans.
I'm so happy for Eric, and that just shows the type of guy he is throughout the week, man. He comes in head down, work on special team, do whatever the team tell him to do, and also work on defense. So at practice, he getting the special team reps, and he get defensive reps, and he's staying locked in because you never know. There's always next guy up. And I love how everybody up here from the first string to the fourth string, they know the next guy up. So you have to be locked into the game plan. You have to be answering the questions. And throughout the whole week, special teams offense, I'm seeing it. So I just wanted to keep going, keep being him. And like I said, we get your opportunity like that and how hard you work. I'm not surprised to see it. I'm happy that the world's able to see it now.
Mike, one of the cool things in today's game, which was an oddity that I did not realize, but Josh Jacobs getting his first touchdown last week as a Packer, then gets his first receiving touchdown ever in his career. I had no idea he had never caught a touchdown pass.
Yeah, that's something we've been sort of kicking around the last couple of weeks. It came up in a conversation and one where he was open. But, yeah, Josh Jacobs running the ball. His average wasn't over 3 yards a carry in the first half. I love this series, Bill, that they called in the third quarter, where they had Josh Jacobs line up outside the left tackle, motion in, take an inside handoff and cut it up, and he got about 8 or 9 yards. And the very next play, they had him line up deep in the backfield and hand it off to him again, like you wouldn't think he was going to get it back-to-back. Boom, 27-yard gain. And that set up the slant to Romeo Doubs. And the next thing you know, now they're deep in the red zone, and they get that pass to Josh Jacobs. And as we talked about him, finally getting his first career TD reception after 202 career catches in the NFL.
It was long overdue. We talked about it all week at practice. It was like, man, this is the week that we going to get you. We had like 3 or 4 plays in the red zone for me. So, man, I appreciate my coaches and, the teammates wanted me to get that and calling it for that situation, man. And it was fun, man. First Limo Elite, official Limo Elite. It was a good one.
And you made it.
Yeah, for sure.
Josh, you made sure you kept the football on that one. How special was it to get that football?
It was good, man. I mean, it was a good first, but I think I'm going to give it to Jordan. I think I'm going to get the ball to Jordan because it was also his 50th career, passing touchdown. So I think I'm going to give it to him.
How about that? Little unselfishness via the teammate, the brand new teammate, as a matter of fact. Speaking of that, and unselfishness, Romeo Doubs, Mike, I had tweeted out during the game, he might be fastly becoming the new version of Donald Driver. Donald Driver used to take a lot of inside slants, take hits over the middle, get up, shimmy, shake, and walk back to the huddle after picking up a first down. Doubs has been doing that consistently. Did it 2 or 3 times today.
Double D. He would, and the thing is, Donald would take those hits and what? Hang on to the ball, right? Hang on to the ball. And so today, Dontavian Wicks still able to break through, had that 30-yarder. Tucker Kraft at tight end with that beautiful catch, that beautiful throw from Jordan Love over the middle for a touchdown catch. But there's Doubs moving the chains and running that slant about 8 or 9 yards downfield when they had one-on-one. And I talked to him about that. And then those 2 key catches that he makes and what turned out to be the final drive, getting the ball back with 1:44 left and 70 yards to go for the win. Here's Romeo Doubs.
Just got to keep playing ball, man. The clock wasn't at 0 just yet. And, I mean, it was key plays to the drive. I had some catches. I mean, Tucker had one coming just right beside the ticks. Wicks being Wicks, making the first guy miss, getting extra yards. So it was definitely a team game.
Mike, it was funny. I was just saying there was a fan from Houston that came up to me and said, hey, the play calling he thought was not good regarding the Texans. He said, would you go after the offensive coordinator, D'Amico Ryans? Who would you blame this loss on? Because they felt like that there just wasn't enough on the bone, offensively speaking, for this Texans team to get a win, and they blame it on coaching. And we've seen this story before, but they left some time on the clock, man, that the Packers obviously took advantage of.
Yeah, and the Houston reporters are asking that question, Bill, too, right there with you, because it's like even though the Texans managed to have that long, sustained drive toward the end, there was a third down play where they had a pass. Why didn't you just keep churning away with Joe Mixon? The run game worked for them today. Mixon, broke one for 32 yards later in the game. And so D'Amico Ryans was taking a little bit of heat from the Houston press, like, did you end up leaving too much time on the clock for Jordan Love and the Packers have offense at the end of the game?
Yeah, our goal is always to go score. That's our goal. Like, they did a good job of stopping us, didn't get in. So, obviously we didn't pass the ball well all day, right? So it wasn't good all the way around. We ran the ball well. Thought Joe did a good job of running the ball. And, we needed to pass it. It was not good enough, starting with the protection. We can't protect, and that's going to be difficult for the quarterback to make the plays.
Mike, it's very rare in this league if you turn the ball over 3 times and you still walk away with a win. That's considered like an ugly or a dirty win. And the Packers, it's about time they got one of those kind of wins today. But what was really astounding was this offense of the Houston Texans. They get 3 turnovers and they could convert it into a total of 16 points, and that was it. That you got to give credit to Hafley, that defense, everything that goes along with it for the job they did today on C.J. Stroud.
Didn't you love the Xavier McKinney safety blitz off the left-hand side early in the game?
Yep.
And to get home on the quarterback and to get into that young quarterback's mind. But I'll tell you what, man, C.J. Stroud, he is so good at his mechanics. There's some accurate throws he made in the second half that just blew me away, where he put those things down and away right in his receiver's hands. But the kid only finished with a quarterback rating today of 58. Just 21 pass attempts, 10 out of 21. And he talked about the Texans offense unable to put more points in the game against his Packers defense.
A lot of things didn't go right offensively. We just really didn't get in the rhythm early. Missed some ops. Thought we ran the ball really well, but just weren't clicking in the passing game, and just couldn't find a rhythm. So gotta go watch the film, figure out what went wrong, and try to just get better, and actually do get better is no try, and really just get back to practice and just work harder.
Mike, I know we got about a minute here, but I had said it early in the game. If you get a win like this in a playoff type of atmosphere, and I thought it was today, this, to me, you look at it as glass is half full, that you were able to play pretty poorly in a lot of different phases of the game and still walk away with a win against a playoff caliber team and pick up your 5th win of the season and keep pace with the guys that are ahead of you in the division, because we saw the Lions take down the Vikings. This is a huge win today for the Green Bay Packers. Do you agree?
The Packers players were strutting out of that locker room today. And now Keyshawn Nixon wanted to talk to us with microphones and cameras, but he did talk to our guy, Rob Reichel. And Rob, who's writing nationally, asked him, what did you think, Keyshawn? He says, that was a Super Bowl game right there, man. That was a Super Bowl game.
Interesting. Good stuff. Mike, appreciate it. And we will talk next week. And we'll talk to you tomorrow morning, though, on the program, on the regular show, okay?
Talk to you then, Billy. Thank you.
Appreciate it, pal. There you go. The Packers get themselves a win. They knock off the Texans. But, man, like I said, it just felt like a playoff atmosphere today. It was a fun atmosphere. And we talked about it all week coming into this thing. I could not wait for this game. Some thought it might be a shootout. Then we said, well, what if it comes down to a kick? And then Narvison out. And you've got McManus in. McManus hits the 45-yarder. The 40 to 49-yarder has been the bugaboo for the Green Bay Packers for quite some time. And instead today it was a game winner and a Lambeau leap for the newest member of the Green Bay Packers. So really good stuff. A reminder, next week, we are going to be in the Northwoods next week. We cannot wait. We're really looking forward to it. We're going to be in Carter, Wisconsin for a watch party in the Green and Gold Postgame Show. We're going to be on the road at Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Carter, Wisconsin. And if you live in the area, or maybe you're heading up that way, or maybe you just want to come and join us and make a reservation, we hope to see you there. It should be a lot of fun. One more time before a crowd of 78,198.7 on hand paying to see it. It was the Green Bay Packers 24 and the Houston Texans 22. Next week, Jacksonville, the opponent down there in Florida.